Hey, I want to take this quick moment and I would like to tell you about a free masterclass I have coming up called Thrive Beyond the 9 to 5. It's going on in early October, that first week of October. And if you like the content I share on here and you really are wanting to learn ways to thrive outside of your career, outside of the 9 to 5, you want to sign up for this masterclass. There'll be a link down below on how to get to that page to register. I'm going to talk about how to redefine success, really unleash your inner power, and also how to set yourself up and design a thriving lifestyle. So click the link below. Come join me in the masterclass. I can't wait to see you there. Welcome to the Christy Jones Show. This is your go-to podcast for living life to the fullest. I am a life and empowerment coach, speaker, and business owner in multifamily real estate. I am a woman passionate about helping others build a life that they truly desire. We'll talk about how to make the most out of every day, from setting meaningful goals to embracing the present moment. So join us as we explore the depths of living a life that is full of joy, purpose, and satisfaction. Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Christy Jones Show, where I love to share all the ways so that you can live your life to the fullest. Because that's what we all want, right? We want to live our super full, vibrant, lit up life. So I love to dive into all the things, and I'm listening to my listeners this week. And something that I've heard repeatedly is, Christy, will you talk about setting goals? Will you talk about how to be effective at setting goals and reaching those goals? So I decided today I'm going to do a little shorty episode. So this won't be a real long episode. It's going to be great for that little quick walk that you take, that short drive that you're on. And I'm going to dive into goal setting. So let's get started. All right. So when we talk about goal setting, most everyone sits and goes, I want to set some goals for myself. They struggle. It's very common to struggle with, like, what do I set a goal on? How far out do I set goals? And then sometimes just to organize our brain to establish some goals, it kind of gets chaotic. It can get a little overwhelming. And then sometimes we have a clear visions and we write goals, and then we get super discouraged when we don't stay on path, stay on course to hit those goals. And it really doesn't matter what area of your life that you are setting goals in, or maybe you're just covering all of it. Like you're like the super goal setter, right? And then you get a little further down into the year, down the path, down the road, and then you get frustrated because you're not really making the progress on your goals that you wanted to make. So I want to give a short episode and have just a couple things that I touch on when it comes to goal setting and how to be more effective at that. So here's the thing: when it comes to setting goals, I generally feel like a lot of us fall into one or two categories. Either we're like super aggressive when it comes to goal setting. We're a little chaotic when it comes to setting goals. We write everything down, like everything, every segment of our life. Our health, our wellness, our career, relationships. I mean, we just go to town on writing down goals. So it's a little crazy. I actually call it the Goal Scatterstorm because we're just loading up the list. And it might be your list for the week. It might be like, here's the stuff I want to get done this week. Maybe it's things you want to accomplish in the next few months, the year. Maybe sometimes you're even like putting down a bajillion things that you want, goals that you have for the next 5 years. And so establishing goals are great. I mean, you don't want to just wander aimlessly through life. If you want to, be an active participant, there's a balance there. I'll talk about that later between you moving forward and also allowing life to unfold for you, but we'll dig into that later. But right now, it's great to like get your goals down and to have some hopes and dreams. And this could be like, the stuff that you're dreaming about. Like right now I'm 53. So I look at like what I get excited about thinking about what the next, the rest of the decades of my 50s, what that's going to look like. And I start, getting ideas and planning and setting goals and all of that. So that's a great thing to do in any area of your life. But here's the thing. We either fall in what I call the goal scatterstorm mode, or we fall in the opposite, which is living in the comfort zone mode. And in the comfort zone mode, you're really just not that interested in setting goals. Therefore, I mean, whatever happens, happens. And that's okay too. But at the same time, you might write down a few goals, generally like what I call those that land in the perpetual comfort zone. They might have a few goals for themselves or for their life, but they don't ever make any progress towards build any momentum towards those goals. And it's almost like you're stuck in quicksand is another. If I were to give you a visual, if you're a visual learner, when you're more of being in the comfort zone, it's like being in quicksand. So you have a goal and maybe you have things for the week that you want to get done, but if you're too tied up into your comfort zone, you're literally stuck in quicksand, because the way to activate goals is to have action and movement and move forward, take a step. Even, sometimes you don't know, is this the right step, the wrong step? Is this the right direction? Here's the thing. Like a lot of times we don't know. We don't really know. You have to, seek wisdom, go listen to that inner voice inside, pray about it, seek guidance, really listen to what that inner voice is telling you. And then make a move. And that's where a lot of people get stuck, is that they get too scared because they want to stay in their comfort zone. So I'm just going to hang out here and then just see like what happens. Well, a lot of times, guess what? Nothing happens. Nothing happens, because we have to be an active participant in our lives. We cannot just sit back and chill in a comfort zone and then be confused later why why I'm not reaching my goal. Well, you're not reaching your goal because you're not risking your comfort level. You're not stepping out of that comfort zone. So when it comes to goal setting, I break it down into kind of two mindsets. There's what I call the goal scatterstorm, which honestly, that's what I fall into a lot, and I have to really manage my brain, because I'm just like, I throw a lot of stuff up on the wall. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. And then sometimes that can, you get discouraged because you don't get everything. You don't make progress on all those areas, or you're not, really building momentum in the areas that you have all these goals set. So you have to find the balance between being in the goal scatterstorm mode, where it's just like frenzy and you're just throwing goals up all the time, when you really even haven't reflected or looked at the previous goal that you just set. You just move on to the next one. So there's the goal scatterstorm, and then there's the being in quicksand, the comfort zone. And that's where you just kind of stay stuck, because you're too fearful to make a mistake. You're too fearful to move forward, to take a step in the direction of a goal. So, and a lot of times it's fear, it's insecurities, it's things that just, are going on in the brain that you don't need to listen to. And so that keeps you stuck in quicksand. So you never can accomplish a goal when you're stuck in quicksand. Because to achieve goals, to move forward, there's got to be some action there. There's got to be some movement. There's got to be some participation, some effort on your part. So Goal Scatterstorm or the comfort zone, or maybe you land somewhere in between. But I've given you two like extreme examples of where a lot of people land. And so kind of figure out which one you are, which are you more a scatterstorm or are you more the quicksand? And then figure out how to come into more of that middle zone a little bit. A lot of times, just really quickly, I want to say that when it comes to goal setting, it's about finding a sustainable way for you to move forward, build momentum, and move towards your goals. So that's why if you're in a comfort zone, you're making no progress. And if you're like in crazy town scatterstorm, there's a tongue twister. If you're in the scatterstorm, you're going to like overcommit. You're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to just like, you can't really build momentum either when you're operating in that mode. So if you are in the crazy town scatterstorm type of area, if you fall in that category, let me encourage you. Let me share something that I learned is, so sometimes I just can't stop my brain. So I just write it all down. Like I get it all out. And these are like all the things that I'm thinking of and what I'm doing goal setting and getting really specific. And then I look, especially when I'm looking at my week, I'm not so much like, down the road, but I'm more like the week, the month, that type of thing. And I look at it and then I look at my week and go, okay, now, is this realistic? Generally, seems like I've scheduled myself like there's two of me for what I'm wanting to do and accomplish. And, I get excited. Have you ever gotten excited about something? And then you're really excited and then you get going, you were like, ooh, I don't know. Maybe I might have underestimated how much time or a commitment this was going to take for me. Have you ever found yourself in that situation? I know I have. So sometimes if you fall in the scatterstorm category, when you look at your goal list for the week or the month, just automatically like shave off like a third of that. Like decide what is maybe not that important to you. Maybe it was just like a great idea at the time, but I look at mine and then I kind of shave off like a fourth of it basically. And I just go put it over here to the side because I already know that I can easily overcommit myself. Just like let's talk about like going to the gym, working out, exercise, fitness. Let's use that as an example. So have you ever found yourself in a place where you're like, I am going to work out 7 days a week. I'm going to work out hard, which I don't recommend 7 days a week. But someone that's wanting to, hit a goal and they're like, I'm going to work out 7 days a week. I'm going to work out hard. I'm going to do this. And then they don't do 7 days a week. And then maybe they go 3 days a week and do their exercise, hit the gym, whatever. And then they just beat themselves up. Then they're like feeling bad about themselves. And then they're like, they kind of get, they get in a bad funk, just kind of get in a funk. And then the next week they like maybe go once. So consistency and building momentum is everything. So maybe you don't say 7 days, maybe you say like, if you haven't been doing it at all, I highly wouldn't recommend to say, I'm going to go from 0 to 6. No. How about 0 to 3? How about even 0 to 2, 2 days a week, something like that. And so for myself, let me share that I've been working out a long time. Remember my age, you guys. I've been working out many, 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 many years and being consistent at it. So now I'm on a program where I have, I'm losing my voice, by the way, which is not good for podcasting. I work out 6 days a week. I have a program for 6 days a week. And if I miss a day or two of that, I don't freak out. I simply regroup the next week and get back in flow. And so if you're going from 0 to 7 and then you only do 1, it's just mentally, it's just this weird little head game that we get in. So don't set yourself up in that way. Start out with more moderation. And then you can build up. Like, I know I'm scheduled for 6 days, and many times I do my 6 days, but sometimes if there's travel, if I'm out of town, I'm on the road, I can't get into a gym, or the times don't work, or sometimes it's family things that are going on that I choose to be at and do instead of going and doing my workout. Then I guess what I'm saying is that it's okay for you to have some variation within your goal setting. That's where you kind of maybe shave off part of that for the month, for the week, if you are an overzealous goal scatterstorm type of person. So the key is to find that kind of sweet spot between the scatterstorm and the quicksand. So you want to think like long-term, sustainable movement towards your goals. Now, really quick, let me touch on, before I wrap, let me touch on this thought of, okay, here's the thing. A lot of times people are like, well, we don't want to wander aimlessly through our life. However, there's also that really like important factor that you want to remain flexible, but also have your goals down. Here's what I mean by that. So a lot of times we want to have it all figured out. We have a goal, but we want to have it all figured out. Like someone says, oh, what do you want to do? Where do you want to, you've heard this before. Where do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want your life to look like in 5 years? Well, I don't know about you, but especially when I was younger, somebody asked me that, and it was like, I had like general like things that I dreamed for, hoped for, like, but it's a little overwhelming, right? I remember growing up in a time where in school they were like, you had like a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, 20-year plan. And I was so young. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, I'm going to just figure out the next 6 months. I can't think about 10 years from now. But as I moved through life, obviously those timeframes don't seem as overwhelming. But at the same time, if you get too caught up, and this is my opinion, if you get too caught up in trying to micromanage the next 5 years of your life, you've got to leave room for some flexibility for what maybe and this is me speaking from my heart and what has guided me through my life, but you've got to give room to what also God has prepared for you and for what he has lined up for you. Because generally we think way too small when it comes to goals, because you can have so much more amazing things lined up in your life if you just kind of loosen the grip a little bit, if that makes sense. So don't hold the reins so tightly that you are not flexible within your goals, within your dreams, within your hopes and desires. And then let me close with sharing this. A lot of times, and it's so common, I think maybe it's human nature, I don't know, but we want to have it all figured out before we take the step, before we take the risk, before we make the move, before we make the decision. We want to have it all figured out. And you don't have to have it all figured out to be moving towards your goal, to be building momentum. And that can apply to starting a business, going into business for yourself, making a career move. It can apply to parenting, or it can apply to becoming a parent, even from going to not having kids to having kids, or even through that entire parenting process through the years. Maybe you're contemplating a move to a different state. Maybe you're contemplating why you're going to college, what you're going to college for, what you're going to do after college, if you are in college. And if you are just in this area where you're trying to figure out like what your next hobby or interest is, and you have something that you want to do, but you're just not sure what the end result's going to look like. In any of those areas that I just mentioned, if you're not sure you want security in knowing exactly what it's going to be at the end of that goal, of the end of going through that process, of end of that journey, you can't have that. You can't have that. We are not gifted the end result and certainty. You have to get very comfortable with uncertainty. And the sooner you get very comfortable with uncertainty, you will enjoy this process of setting goals, striving for your goals, going for your goals. But nothing is certain in life. If one thing is certain in life that I've learned is that everything is subject to change. Absolutely everything is subject to change. And sometimes when I say that to people, they automatically take that in a negative, like, oh gosh, they take like, oh, something could happen negative. Okay, that's possible. But also when I say that, I mean that subject to change in that it could also shift and be immediately changed over to something more amazing than that you could ever hope, dream, think, or wish for. So don't feel like you have to have it all figured out when you're setting a goal, when you're moving towards that goal. There are times that you take a step, you make a move, and then that gives you more clarity, or it leads in a different direction. Or a door is not just closed, but maybe it is sealed shut. And that often is a whisper and a redirection for something much, much greater in your life. So stay open to being flexible while moving towards your goals. Stay open to listening to that voice inside, seeing where the universe is guiding you. I mean, everything is working for your good. Everything, the setbacks, the step forwards, all of it's working for you. And it's all leading you. If you stay open, if you stay aware, if you stay in tune, it's leading you to exactly where you need to be. So don't fall in the trap of feeling like you have to have it all figured out and being scared to take the step. Again, my belief is that I take the step and then God kind of gives me a little bit more clarity or a little more guidance. I've got to step forward in my faith on what it is that I'm hoping to do. And again, that's going to apply to business. It's going to be apply to becoming a parent or the years of your parenting if you have children, or it can be, what's that next season of your life going to look like? You have to make a step. You have to show that you are moving forward in faith towards your goal. And I believe that then as I move forward and I take steps and I put things into motion, then I feel like if whatever I need to know next, that God will let me know that. The universe will give me the information that I need at the time that I need it. Sometimes we want all the answers before we even start. We want all the security before we even go. We want to know that we're making the right decision, that it's all going to work out before we've made the decision. And life doesn't work like that. I believe that we move towards what we feel is our goal, what we feel we need to be doing, what we choose to do, what we're just lights us up, that we do that. And you do that sometimes not knowing what the next step is. right? I remember, I may use parenting as an example. I didn't, you don't have to be officially ready for that next thing and then be, and in order to be good at it. Does that make sense? For instance, a lot of people, you're like, when you have your first child, you're like, oh my gosh, like you don't know what you're doing. You haven't done this before. So you take a step, you do this, you do that, you follow your instinct. And as you go down that path of parenting through the years, things get easier. Why? Because you lean into the trust, you lean into the flow. More clarity comes to you. You learn as you go, basically. So many things in life, for me, just like in parenting, you learn as you go. If you're soon to be an empty nester and you're starting to freak out, like, oh my God, I've had a house full for so many years, and now I'm in my last year of having, the house full and kids at home and things like that. So you're anxious maybe about what is that going to look like next? Well, you don't have to have it figured out. You'll figure it out when you get there. Trust that it's going to be great. Trust that it's going to be fine. Your kids are on their journey and they will spread their wings and fly and soar. And that is so exciting. If you haven't been there yet, trust me, it is amazing to see the humans that you've raised, that you've poured your heart and soul and done your best with. And don't beat yourself up over it right now. Like, if you're like, I don't know if I've been the best, you've done the best you can with the information you've had. And when it's their time to fly, they will do amazing. And they will then be able to start forming their life the way they want to. And stepping out in faith, stepping into the unknown. So in any area of your life, be it business, be it in parenting, be it as an empty nester, any area of your life, be it in a relationship, when you're venturing into the unknown, it's normal to feel a little anxious. It's normal to want all the answers. Like, if I just knew, then it would be easier to make a decision right now, right? But that's the beauty of life. That's the beauty, is you get to make a decision and take action. And then the next thing will be revealed to you when the time is right. And you have to trust that. So I encourage you to continue goal setting. I encourage you this month, this is September, and I've been all about the reset this month. Resetting is a perfect time to reset. It's a perfect time to relook at your goals. It's a perfect time to realign with your goals. Because going into the last 3 months of this year, what better time? What better time than right now to kind of recharge, reset, realign, which I did a podcast on that last week, and then move forward October, November, December, and really just have that feeling that you are moving forward in faith. You are taking action. You're not stuck in quicksand, but you're also not just the scatterstorm where you're just all over the place and not completing anything, not getting any momentum, not getting any closer to your goals. Well, I hope this episode has been so helpful to you, especially if you're someone that has written into me saying, hey, Christy, will you talk a little bit about goal setting? All right, let's get our goal setting on task, on point, realigned. And I cannot wait to see you again next week. Go make this week great. And I appreciate, as always, I so appreciate you listening and being a part of this community. Like the podcast, rate the podcast, share it on your social media. And I really do appreciate it. All right, until next week, I'll see you next.